Hey there, fellow knowledge seekers. I'm Iggy from the Investing Iguana, and today we're cracking open a mystery that's shaking up the global economy, why China's grip on supply chains is slipping, and why the so-called alternatives might not save us. Most folks think the world's just shifting factories from China to places like Vietnam or India because of trade wars or cheaper labor. But here's the twist. That move's not working like everyone hoped. And there's a hidden pattern here that goes back centuries. I've dug into mountains of data, trade reports, historical records, you name it, to uncover this story. Stick with me, because I'm about to break down 5 game-changing clues that reveal why this shift's faltering and what it means for your wallet in 2025 and beyond. Let's dive in. Let's rewind the clock. Not just a decade, but centuries. Picture this. It's 1720. And Britain's South Sea Company is promising riches beyond imagination. Everyone's buying in, borrowing cash, building a bubble until it pops, crashing markets and wiping out fortunes. Let's rewind the fast forward to the 19th century. Colonial powers like Britain and France are chaining global trade to their empires, exploiting resources from Asia to Africa. What's the common thread? These systems worked until they didn't. Until local weaknesses, over-reliance on a single hub, or a geopolitical shove broke them apart. Today, China's been that hub, the factory of the world since the 90s. But just like those old empires, cracks are showing. The question is, can anyone else take the crown? Here's the second biggest clue. Countries like Vietnam and India can't escape China's shadow. Why does this matter to you? Because when supply chains stumble, prices spike. Think electronics, clothes, everything you buy. See, Vietnam's been a poster child for diversification. Companies rushed there after the US-China trade war kicked off in 2018, lured by low wages and friendly ties with both powers. But here's the catch. Vietnam imports heaps of raw materials, like steel and electronics parts, straight from China. When China's zero-COVID policies locked down factories in 2022, Vietnam's production stalled too. India's no different. Their shiny new factories still lean on Chinese components for phones and gadgets. This isn't freedom. It's a dependency trap dressed as a solution. Just like colonial India relied on British ports, these alternatives are tethered to China's supply web. That fragility is a ticking bomb for global markets. Now, here's the juiciest insight. Infrastructure's the real kingmaker, and the pretenders to China's throne are stumbling hard. This hits home because weak infrastructure means delays. Your Amazon package stuck in limbo or car prices soaring from parts shortages. China's got ports that hum like clockwork, highways that stretch forever, and warehouses ready to roll. Vietnam? Their ports rank 83rd globally for efficiency. Congested, cramped, and creaking under pressure as manufacturing booms. India's even worse. Roads and rails so patchy that moving goods feels like a treasure hunt. Back in the 1800s, Britain ruled trade because of its ships and railways. Today, China's edge is its logistics machine. Without that, Vietnam and India are like knights without armor, brave but outmatched. This isn't just a hiccup, it's a structural flaw that could sink their supply chain dreams. Next up, the workforce plot twist. You'd think cheap labor's enough to win, right? Wrong. And this matters because skilled workers drive innovation, keeping costs down and quality up. Vietnam's got low wages, sure, but their workers aren't trained for high-tech stuff like semiconductors. Quality slips, orders get canceled. It's a mess. India's got millions of people, but their semiconductor push is stalling because they need years to upskill folks. Compare that to China. Decades of investment turned their workforce into a precision engine. This echoes the Industrial Revolution. Britain soared because its workers mastered machines while others lagged. Today, without skilled hands, Vietnam and India can't match China's output. It's not just about moving factories, it's about who can run them. That gap's a quiet killer for supply chains. Here's where it gets wild. Geopolitics is a trapdoor under these alternatives. Why care? Because if tensions flare, your investments and the whole economy could take a hit. Vietnam and India play nice with both the US and China, but that's a tightrope. Lean too far toward Uncle Sam, and China might choke off those raw materials we talked about. Cozy up to Beijing, and the US could slap sanctions or pull trade deals. India felt this in 2020. Border clashes with China led to investment bans, but they still need Chinese parts. Vietnam's caught too, juggling US rare earth deals, while China looms large. This isn't new. Think of 19th century Europe, where alliances shifted and trade routes collapsed overnight. That balancing act's breaking down and supply chains are the collateral damage. Finally, let's talk red tape, the silent saboteur. This matters because delays here mean factories sit idle, costing you more at the checkout. India's infamous for it. Land deals drag on, approvals take forever, and taxes are a maze. Vietnam's not spotless either. Contract enforcement's a gamble, spooking investors. China? They streamlined that mess years ago, making it a magnet for business. This isn't just annoyance, it's economic quicksand. Back in the colonial days, British efficiency crushed slower rivals. Today, bureaucracy's choking Vietnam and India's ambitions. They've got potential, but without slashing that red tape, they're stuck, leaving supply chains shaky and markets nervous as we roll into 2025. So, there you have it, folks. We've cracked the code on why China's supply chain crown is slipping and why Vietnam, India, and the rest can't just waltz in and take it. From dependency traps to crumbling infrastructure, skill shortages, geopolitical tightropes, and bureaucratic bogs, these clues show the game's bigger than a simple factory swap. Now you're armed to see through the hype. Supply chains aren't just about where stuff's made, but how deep the system runs. Want to stay ahead of this mess? My free investor guide's got the nitty-gritty on spotting risks and picking winners. Grab it below. Hit that like button if you learned something. Subscribe for more Iggy insights, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay sharp out there. Now you're armed to see through the hype. Supply chain